Bruce Kulick will always be known as the guy from Kiss. And it's a great legacy because Kiss is huge. You can never take away. They are like massive.
Absolutely. Be able to be in Kiss for 12 years or to work with Don and Mel and those guys for 23 years. You learn from all that.
You learn. Let me ask you. So when you had to make the call to Don, actually picked up the phone.
Yep.
How many times did you hang up the phone before?
No. I was, I didn't know how he'd feel about it and how he'd react. And I knew I had a solid presentation because I wanted to make it heartfelt, yet at the same time, I started the conversation with, I want to thank you for 23 years of solid work. I mean, you have to have some respect for that. You know what I mean? And even if he did things his way, took the gigs he wanted to do, because he is in charge of Grand Funk, that's a big thing. I've never been screwed over a gig or anything ever, any receipt. It's always been top-notch professional. Don gets in to the venue. At the back line's there. It's all set up. We do a sound check. He wants to get paid, okay, by the venue. Do the job and let's get back to the hotel. There's nothing romantic about the hotels because everybody lives in a different city. So we got to use the airport hotels and the shuttle and the this and that, you know what I mean? Which is that's not touring with Kiss when they take, and the entourage goes to that 5-star hotel downtown or wherever the good part of the town is, but that's the only way you could do that if you're doing the fly dates. Okay.
Yeah.
So when Don, right away, he totally got it. And he kind of didn't want me to talk about it because I realized that he wanted to share it with the band, the agent and everything. And then there's always, the optics of it could have been awkward because there were already dates booked in 24, which probably showed my face. Yeah. So he just asked, keep it quiet until the end of the year. And you're going to finish the year out. I said, absolutely. I'm there for you. And I'll help whoever it is. Now the news broke that it's a dear friend of mine who I knew would probably get offered the gig, which is Mark Chatfield. And Mark played with Bob Seger. That I met, the story here, this is full circle. I met Mark and wound up working with him by doing that Seger tour with Michael Bolton. Okay. We had Blackjack as Below 10, right? That was his name. Then the band disbanded after the second record and the label said, bye-bye, you guys didn't sell enough. The first album sold over 100,000 copies, but if it didn't go gold, it was like a disaster. We were lucky to do the second album, to be honest. And then everybody went off in their own, Jimmy Haslip, Sandy Gennaro, and myself. I went to the Good Rats. I didn't know what to do. Very popular tri-state area New York band. Some people love them. Some people never heard of them. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Michael started to get back into it. Okay. And I think he got some new management. And the next thing you know, I'm changing my name. I'd like you to play on the record, Bruce, which was that first record with Fool's Game on it. Okay. MTV picked it up. So now all of a sudden he's got a good agent. And now he's offered 3 weeks on the road with Bob Seger. Okay. Of course he goes to me. Again, it's not a band, it's Michael Bolton. And there we are on tour with Bob Seger, which was really interesting too, is that Seger was like, he does too many cover songs. Michael was always known for, he would do Rocky Mountain Way and other stuff like that. And then I said to Michael, why don't we do some Blackjack songs? Because we have songs that are perfect for that kind of a bill. You're familiar with Blackjack, and anybody out there. It was like to me, Blackjack was trying to be Bad Company, but U.S. style. But Michael's voice, of course, being a little gruffer, than Paul Rogers. That tour is 83, okay? Because I was in the Good Rats for those 2 years, 80, 81, and 82. In 83, we do this. Now we're opening for Seger. Who's the drummer? Don Brewer, okay?
Wow.
Oddly enough, he met Sonny, his wife, who's been with a very long time now on that tour. Mark Chatfield was one of the two guitar players in Seger. And when Bolton, we had a second guitar player too. He didn't want to continue on. After those 3 weeks were done, there was another tour dates offered. We're driving around in an RV, pulling a trailer or something like that. You know what I mean? It was the funky touring. We had some clubs in the Midwest. And guess who played the other guitar role? Mark Chatfield. Okay. He came to my home in Queens. We went over the material. He didn't want it. He loved playing guitar. He didn't want to end. Seger's done. Yeah. he's taken off time, maybe for 6 months, a year, whatever. So he came on the road with us, Now, I didn't really always remember that Don Brewer produced The Gods, which is one of Mark Godz, from Ohio. He produced them. And of course, through Seeger, he actually toured with him, So of course he knows Mark, and Mark got the call. I kind of knew that, but there's even a better connection with Mark, which is so ironic that when Lisa and I knew we wanted to move to Las Vegas, I knew Brent and Todd lived out here, but I wanted someone else on the ground here that I thought was a little older, a little wiser maybe, than to have them help me find a home. And Mark was the guy I had the conversation with, and he found me a realtor. I told him where I wanted to be, which wasn't far from where he was living. Very luckily for him, he moved 2 years ago to Columbus, okay? Because that's the right part of the country to be for Grand Funk. You see what I'm saying? So you see how it's just like a full circle of 40 years, Is it remarkable? And Mark and I have been in touch, of course, as soon as I told Don, and Don asked him to be the guy. And, he's very talented. He's doing great, learning the stuff. He's going to be great next week at the first gig. But there were only a few things I needed to show him. Came to a few of the shows. Again, we kept all this quiet. Nobody knew what's this guy doing here. Nobody knew anything. No,
nobody knew anything. But the Gods also, and correct me if I'm wrong, weren't they on Casablanca Records?
They might have been. There's that connection. And Mark and I have talked about Kiss things. How he was talking to Ace about gear, or those just some of the gears in the the real early Kiss days. He's got stories. He's got a great reputation. This is going to be perfect for Grand Funk. So I'm really proud. That news broke 2 days after, the original one came out. I'm just real excited about it. It's been great. Now, of course, there's a lot to talk about. I love the attention. I don't mind. I needed everybody to know. You read some things like, I saw you 5 times. I loved it, Bruce. Carry on. I can't wait to see what you got. Then the guys that would say like, wow, I meant to see you at Grand Funk. In 23 years, you couldn't figure out a time.
Because you get you get those Kiss fans that kind of want to see you. You have your following too.
Yes, I do. Now, that's one thing, doing those cruises and any of the other events where I was doing me, okay, and my legacy, the crowd was certainly, it's different than a Grand Funk crowd. It has to be. First of all, the Grand Funk crowd's usually a little older. And some of those fans are rabid. I mean, there's all the division about, the ones that come, they love the show we go over every night. And then there's, of course, the ones that love Mark, don't understand what Don and Mel are doing. Yeah. You got to ignore all that and carry on. There's people who give Foreigner a hard time when they're incredible. Of course, I've seen them with Mick Jones and without. You know what I mean? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? To me, those songs are great, and they do such a great job with it. But either way, here the circle is complete, and I'm able to finally step down. And it was stressful doing it, of course, because I talked after I made the call to Don at the next show. I talked to everybody privately, and I just explained personally, that I wanted them to know that, and I gave them all these thank you notes at the last show because it really did mean a lot. And what was really cool on that last show in Ohio, I was shocked because I remember one of my friends saying like, so you think there'll be like a celebration or anything, or what's going to happen? I go like, probably nothing. I don't expect anything. You know what I mean? After all the years in Kiss, you don't expect things. Okay. You shouldn't always expect things. If you get what I'm saying. So all of a sudden Don comes in. I got a ride with a friend of mine who lives in Ohio. And that was great that I was able to drive in his Lexus rather than the band van, you know what I mean, to the show. And the next thing I know, Don's got a beautiful chocolate cake that had the number 23 on it, 23 years. And then our agent showed up, and I like Zach a lot. This agent is terrific. He really got me with the whole Kiss world. He really did. Guys in Grand Funk were not into Kiss. Okay. So it was very hard for me to kind of like explain, they're going to do this and then I'm doing this for these people, or I'm going to go do that event. They didn't really get it. The guys who worked for the band did, DJ and Don, these guys were Kiss fans, so they understood. But Zach brought a cake that was gorgeous and had the big Grand Funk logo, with the hand, the thumb hand thing. And we celebrated that. Again, that wasn't public. That was private, of course. But it really did mean a lot for me to have the guys and all of us celebrate it. Mark was there. There's a great picture that DJ, the backline guy that works with us, our production guy, took of me and Mark just going over a couple of, hey, I know Mark played it like this, Mark Farner. How do you voice that? You know what I mean? And we're just kind of trading riffs on the couch with the guitars. And it really, all that meant a lot to me. It was a very emotional period for me. And I love that I got through it healthy and well, and the gigs went well, and everybody has moved on. And I know they're going to carry on and in the same great fashion, doing great shows.
Now let me ask you, if something down the road, like say Mark, situation, and Mark's he came to make a gig, are you open to fill in? And
I'd be there in a heartbeat. Absolutely, of course.
That was Mr. Bruce Kulick. You could catch this episode right now, right here on our Members Only Club, unedited, all 2 hours of it, and other episodes. In the meantime, click on the box you see right here and subscribe. And you know what? We'll have more Bruce coming your way this week. So make sure you hit that bell to be notified. Who loves you, baby? We do.